Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Sylvia and I make videos on planning with the occasional review. Planning has always been my way of working out problems and solving the day-to-day issues in my life. Join me as I experiment on how to best tackle projects, figure out how to stick with habit tracking, and celebrate the wins, both big and small. So grab a cup or a glass of whatevs and let's get on with the video. Hey guys, welcome to my May 2023 setup for my planner in a traveler's notebook. This is going to be, I want to say an everyday carry, but mostly it's going to sit at my desk because I don't always feel the need to carry my planner, especially when a lot of the things in my planner are stuff that I need to do while I'm at home at my desk or at my computer, or, you know, where I have time to sit down and make phone calls. So anyway, people have asked if I would show how I get everything into a traveler's notebook, especially since this traveler's notebook specifically is a one string. They're interested in what you do and how you wrap all of the stuff and all of the things. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I will show you my complete setup for May of 2023. I think we should start, probably for those who haven't watched other videos, with what I'm actually using. So I'm going to be using the Energel Clinia, and I switch out the cartridges all of the time for a 0.3, even though this says 0.4. But right now I have a 0.4 in here because I'm using Traveler's Notebook inserts, and those inserts, they absorb ink very well, unlike the Tomoe River paper. So I can use a broader pen and not have to worry about smearage as much. So there's that. I smear no matter what because I'm out of control, but you know. Anyway, so I'm using a Traveler's Notebook by Foxyfix. This is the collection Wildflower Leather, and this is the color Amber. It's gorgeous. It has some scuffs and some scrapes that will not rub out because it's been well loved, and that's the way I like it. And yeah, I love this leather. I can't say enough good things about it. The questions and the interest most people have are about the fact that this is a one elastic notebook, and they're interested in how I get all of the things in here and in what order I put them in. And so I'm going to show you that now. So what I'm going to be fitting in my number 6, also known as a standard or regular size traveler's notebook with one string, are all of these things. So we have 2 accessories, which is a zippy pouch that's sold by Traveler's Company, a sticky, I don't know what the heck this is called. It's just like a sticky note insert, also sold by Traveler's Company, and 4 paper inserts by Traveler's Company. I go back and forth between saying Traveler's Notebook Company and then reading it and saying Traveler's Company. So y'all know what I mean, hopefully. All right, so fitting all of the things. The first thing I do is I put them in the order in which I want them to sit in my notebook, like this. And they are in that specific order, everything except for the zippy pouch. This I'll have to put on last because I didn't last time and I got very confused. Okay, so we are going to piggyback number 1 and number 3 together. Number 4 is not going to go on an elastic. I will show you why and talk about that in a minute. And this one will go on the center elastic that's actually attached to the Traveler's Notebook. So I have my elastic string, and the way that I measure these is I wrap it around the center of my insert. I put the little knot at the bottom so it doesn't bother me by being in the center. I don't want to have to write on that. And then I measure it this way. I usually like pull on it and then I cut it so that I know that it's actually going to be the right length for the standard size inserts. And I have a little give because I know I'm going to fit a second insert on here. Now you can make this as tight, as loose as you want, but this is what I prefer. It's all potentially preference. And then I'm going to wrap my first accessory insert around my paper insert here. So this is kind of got, I'll see if I can pull it up and show you. Let me adjust my camera. So it has like this fold in the plastic, a few, I don't know, millimeters or so that you can actually sit and insert in here and it will wrap around it and hug it very nicely. So first insert, inside, wrapped around, first accessory insert. And then my third insert is connecting to my first insert. On the inside here, I just have these guys loosey-goosey so I can take them out and replace them very easily. I didn't want to staple them, but you can. And now they are piggybacked together, attached. I'm just going to slip this underneath the long elastic that's attached to my traveler's notebook leather. I'm going to pull these apart so it can fall. This string nice in the center like that, and it's attached and it's not going anywhere. It's in there. Then my second insert is actually going to go on the elastic that's attached to the leather traveler's notebook. And now it's 1, 2, and 3. And they're in there and they're not going to fall out and they're not going anywhere. Then I have my zippy pouch plastic insert. So here's the thing about the zippy pouch. So you can fit this guy around one insert like this and put it in here, and it's going to work fine in the Foxyfix because the Foxyfix brand is a little bit wider than the traditional traveler's notebook company. So I just go ahead and I can put this in here and it'll be fine. However, when I put this around one insert and I have like just a second insert in here, it sticks out a bunch, and then when I put the elastic on here, it starts to dig into the plastic, and you don't want that because it's going to mess this up. So I end up wrapping this around 2 inserts in order to keep it from sticking out and having what they call plantar peak or overhang. So we have here insert 2 and 3. Remember, this is on that center cream colored string. This one's the piggybacked one to the first one. I'm just going to slip it right here around both of these. And this is interchangeable, meaning that you can have the long pocket on this side, or you can flip it around and have it here and the zippy pouch over here. And then the last thing I'm going to be adding in is my 4th insert. Now there's a couple of different ways that you can put this insert into a notebook like this one. Because it has the secretarial pocket, you can slip this back cover into the pocket and it will stay in there nicey nice and not fall out. That is something I'm thinking about doing. However, depending on how many notebooks in here, this notebook might bend underneath here. So let me show you how that looks. Okay, readjusting the camera so you can see. So you see how it's kind of folding? That might be something that you want to avoid. And it doesn't matter whether I put it in the front or the back. Sometimes that's something you can try out. But because I already have 3 paper inserts and 2 plastic accessory inserts in here, it's just not going to work out that well. I can't push it back, sorry, any further because of the sewing that's happening here. So that's something to be thinking about. Another thing that you can do is just use like any type of clip like this, or a large clip like this one, and attach it to the leather itself. That way you can get the back of the notebook as close to the edge as possible. And that will avoid it from folding or bending, you know, into the spine a little bit more. You can also put these, or fold these clips rather, down like that. So you can use a larger one or a smaller clip if you need to. So a smaller clip works just fine and looks nicey nice. You can also use a little bit of a larger clip that will clip even this notebook all closed. Maybe this one will actually fit. Yeah, it does. Oh, cool. there you go. Note that if you do this, it is going to dig into your leather, which is not something I want to do, and that's why I'm not going to use a clip. And it's honestly not that serious. It will sit in here just fine and not fall out, especially if I'm opening it on an actual desk. If you're on the go, maybe you have more of an interest of clipping it down so when you open things they don't fall out, but I'm trying to use this mostly on my desk or at a table. Okay, everything is back together and now I'm ready to do my flip through of my May 2023 setup for my everyday carry. Okay, so this actually doesn't have a pen loop attached to it, which makes me happy because they get in the way a lot. And I find that as long as you have your elastic, your pen will sit on here very nicely. You can even clip it on if you needed to secure it a little bit more, and I've never had an issue. For the most part, because I am a crazy stationary junkie person, I usually have something like this, like another type of pouch or pen case with me, so I never have to worry about, oh, there's not enough space for my pens or that my pen's gonna fall out. I feel like it's secure enough just with the elastic alone. But like I mentioned, I'm using an Energel Clinia in a 0.4. And this elastic is actually from my Camel Traveler's notebook from Traveler's Company. It just meshed so nice with this. It's actually lighter than the actual camel leather by the company, but it really it's just beautiful and I love it. On the inside in the front, I just have a couple bits of ephemera here that I keep. This is from Sterling ink that I got with my order, and it's a very thick cardstock. And I keep it in here because I like to keep little bits like this. Like I have these tiny little Tim Holtz, what are they called? Paper clips that are adorable. I only bought one pack and man was it enough. I just love using them all the time. I also use my book darts, and so instead of putting them on the actual leather, I just like keep them all clipped on here, and that's where I put them in case I need one. I don't remember where this is from. This is either a sticker or it's just like one of those you can stick on yourself. I think it's from, what is it called? The monkey something or other. I'll flash it on the screen. So I don't really remember right now. Then this is my Hobonichi stencil. I like to use the numbers on here to either number the pages. I also use these to number my monthly calendar in here, which you'll see in a moment. In my secretarial pocket, I just keep little bits of paper. So this was a card that a planner friend gave to me, and I cut it off because I like to put cards on things like this just to give it a pop of color and something fun on the inserts. This was actually a card that I cut down. You've seen this a lot. I always keep this and I shove it on an insert at some point anytime I can because I just love butterflies. So I have this one to change it out when I get bored. These are just bits of paper. This was on the back of the grid insert that's new that's in here. I can just write a list on here. I don't throw away things like this. Sometimes I go ahead and collage these directly onto the inserts. However, you will find that I am trying to make glue sticks my friend because I am out of tape runners and I have like a no buy online right now, so I can't buy them, and I haven't gone to the bigger town where we have a Joann's that actually sells the Tombow refills for my tape runners. So I'm working with what I got. No means no, Sylvia. Okay, so these inserts are from a Moleskine. They're a dot grid, so anytime I need to make a grocery list or any type of list, just write or jot something down. If my sister asks me for a piece of paper so she can do the same, I just have extra bits in here so she can do so. Now we get to the insert. So our first insert is actually, our first paper insert rather, is wrapped around with this plastic insert that houses my sticky notes from Traveler's Company. So this is a great flap to put sticky notes on to use as a dashboard if you need to. And then of course we have my monthly. So this is also by Traveler's Company. They call this, I think, like a free monthly or something like that. You've seen this before. This is really great because you just fill it out when you need it. And this is how mine looks. Again, these are the stencils from the Hobonichi the green one. I love this stencil. It comes in handy a lot for those numbers. I've only gone through, and because it is May 1st, I've marked off Jay's vacation. He has 2 separate ones because he couldn't get a vacation of like 2.5 weeks all together, but we're going to work with it because we have 2 separate graduations, one in May and then one in June. So that's about as far as I've gotten. I've put a few things down here that I know for sure, and I still have stuff I need to add to this month. The stamps that I'm using here are those Midori stamps that I absolutely love that have the ink already inside, so I don't have to worry about finding the ink and stamping them or anything like that. It's self-inked, and I love that too much. I have a few things written down for June, but not really. I went ahead and I filled this completely out for the full summer until the end of August. I have high hopes that I can stay in here for a little bit. Okay, as the sun is getting brighter and adjusting, I'm adjusting my light, so hopefully this isn't as harsh. Yeah, so I just use the Energel Clinia in here. It has that needle tip, so it's very easy to fit inside of the stencil, and I love it. In the center, I have here some of these. I don't remember where they're from. I'm sure I've mentioned before, I got them on Etsy. I'm sure that you can Google check registers or registry and you can find some of these printables, and I think these were meant to fit in a B6 slim, and you can see they're not as tall, but I went ahead and I just slipped them underneath here so that I can pull them out when I'm done. I already filled out one for May, so I have it covered here with a sticky note, but I love these. They come in really handy. I also have in here my 10th anniversary writing board, and so I actually don't keep this in here, even though it does fit in here, because it makes the leather very stiff and it makes it hard to wrap around all of the inserts, and sometimes this gets bent, kind of like that back notebook I was talking about. You can kind of see, let me adjust the camera again. You can kind of see how it's bending. And I don't want it to bend like that, so I just don't keep it here, but it's something you could do if you had less inserts. I have done that in the past. So for now, I just keep it inside an insert and doesn't have an issue, it doesn't fall out. In the back, if you remember, there are blank pages in the back of this insert, and I just have one per month so that I can keep like my future planning in here. So I already have it broken down by weeks in the month of May that I want to focus on. Some more sticky notes in the back in case I need to write things down, and then of course I have all of these sticky notes readily available if I need them. And sometimes, I think because I've used these over the years, they're not too thick that I can just keep the whole amount in here. You could take some of them off if it was, but it's fine. Again, I put sticky notes wherever I can because sometimes I just write notes wherevs. But this is a good place because it is plastic on the back of this insert to stick them because they stick very well. Now we are at insert 2. So for insert 2, we have the front of the zippy pouch here. I just have some, you know, fun little beautiful things that I can look at. These were, what are they called? Collage kits that I bought on Amazon that you can stick to the wall, and I actually bought an extra set so that I can cut them down and fit them into things like this for my traveler's notebook or on the cover of my inserts like this. I do have some extra paper. So this was an old insert, a grid insert that I ended up not finishing the last few pages in the back. I don't leave them in there. I cut them out so I can use them. And I ended up cutting them down a little bit shorter so they would fit nicey nice in this front pocket here. Just so that they wouldn't show. When you keep them the actual size, they bent a lot in here, so now it's just perfect for a list or anything else I need them for. I can also take them out and use, again, one of these little paper clips. And because they don't have adhesive on the back, I can just stick them on with something like this. And then have my list like that. On the other side in here in this long pocket, I've always had these 2 things in here. I use them eventually here and there. You see that I finally used 3 of these. But I find if I leave them in a box or in a drawer, I'm less likely to use them. So putting them in here is just how I tend to use this stuff. I use these a lot. They do attach the head part where the arrow is, and then you can use it as a page flag up here at the top. You see I have one right there. Now once again, I told you that I don't have any tape runners right now, and I'm not allowed to buy online. So until I make it to the bigger town, I don't have any tape runners. So I just have, again, another Tim Holtz mini paper clip holding this on, which is kind of cool because I can take this off whenever I get bored and put something else on here. Like, again, for instance, the front cover of a card works really nice on these as well. Sorry we got cut off and I'm not sure where, so I'm going to edit this and we'll start with insert 2. On the inside here, again, I couldn't tape this inside, which I usually do like ephemera. So this is the outside packaging of the insert right here. So this insert is actually a 5 by 5 millimeter grid. It has 64 pages, and it just lets me kind of know what I'm working with here. I have a journaling card, which I haven't used in forever, but I still have a ton, and I actually tipped it in, you guys. Look at that. How fancy am I? I haven't tipped in things in a long time. Traveler's notebooks just bring back a lot of different stuff from the past. So there's that. On the back of the journaling card, I just have my key. So people usually have some type of key of signifiers that they use. And since I know my standard forwarding, migrating, how something is started a project or finished a project, completed and all that jazz, I decided to do a different one. So this key is really for my collections, which is what this insert's for. And so when I start a collection that's like writing, so for instance, let's say I have a page here and I'm writing down some kind of note for a writing project, I put a W up at the top, and that's my key, and it just gets me away from having to carry a ton of different colors of pens or highlighters to color code things, because I can just use one pen and still have signifiers. And since I sometimes switch these up, like for instance, R would probably be for reading, but it's for research, so B is for books. I just keep this in here so it reminds me. This little stamp is called, I think, a Dodoma? I think it's something like that. I ended up getting it from Bumkuhan, however y'all's accent pronounces that. But you put a little dot once you start a project or an intention, and then you put a dot in the second eyeball when you finish a project or an intention. And I just have my intentions for this insert in the beginning. So here are some sticky notes from Perfectionism Prints. You guys have seen these before. Sometimes these are nice to keep in collections instead of having a whole page for them, just because I can take them off and replace them very easily. I can also move them throughout my inserts, not just this one, but any of the 4 I have in here. Then I started to make out some different lists that I usually have in every collection, whether it be in my Hobonichi Weeks or in a traveler's notebook, or also in my bullet journal, like my Leuchtturm bullet journals. So some of these have like in progress, finished, and then migrate, and then I tried to do a list one where it's off to the side where I could just make a big full-on bullet list and see how that goes. And then I have this spread marked. So you've seen this before. This is from the Bullet Journal Method book, where you have 5 years, 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days, and 1 hour. So I have this set up for my writing projects and then for personal. And I've done this before in my bullet journals. And that's everything I have in insert 2. So insert 3 is my vocab, and I actually have 2 pieces of vellum on here. I don't know where I got this vellum from. Probably from Michael's, Joann's, or Hobby Lobby. And then this one's from Sterling Ink. So when you have this vellum against a darker insert like this, it's harder to see all the beautiful detail. So I put it against one of these white ones so it would pop a little bit more. And then you can see all that lovely detail and color. So 2 pieces of vellum around here. Vocab. So again, I have another Dodoma. This one's bigger. I hope I'm saying that right. I think that's what it's called. It's been a long time since I bought these, so I might be just saying it consistently wrong. I don't really know. But there's my intentions for this insert, and I already did today, which is May 1st, 2023, a Monday. And I just printed out a bunch of these from Canva. This is a lined insert. and I have plenty of space. This was actually just for one day for one vocab, so unless I want to do like a mind map, I should be able to fit a ton in here. And these Midori clips you guys have seen before. This one is in silver. These ones will not oxidize, so if you don't like that, I definitely would suggest getting the silver ones. And this is actually not marking anything. I just put it in here for when I get further into the insert and I need to mark my page. Back of the notebook, back of the vellum. Then we have the zippy pouch. So the zippy pouch just has ephemera for all of these inserts. So these cute little panders you can use for your monthly calendar. So some of them are birthday, days off, sale, all kinds of different little pandas. And then I have ephemera just to give a little pop of beautiful and color to my vocab, so it's not just writing. So I have a bunch of different ones. These are the washi stickers, and then these are the little squares that I made in Canva and printed out at my library because they have a fantastic printer there. So I can just fill them all up onto the page. And they're ready to go, and I'm doing it right now with with glue sticks because I have no tape runner. There's some other things in here like stickers for my Travelers Company sticker kits that you get every year. I didn't get one this year for 2023. And then in the back, this is my actual bullet journal. So I'll just pull this up like this. So again, I love sticky notes. I have glued this little envelope on, and again I have more ephemera that I want to use specifically in here for the weekly setup. Here I thought I would try just some, I don't know what these are called. They're like progress bars, I guess you would call them, in here for my reading and then writing projects. So right now my niece and I are reading Breaking Dawn, and it's a pretty big book for her because she's going to be 13. So I've gotten pretty far on it, and we're trying to watch the movies after we read them. And we've watched the movies like 100 times, but it's a little different because we get to finally talk about the differences between the movies and the books. And then these are other books that I am working on as well. And then I just have an A if it's an audiobook and a P if it's a physical book. I'm trying to write a little bit smaller in here, so I'm allowing myself to use cursive just because I have a little bit more control and I can write smaller when I'm writing in cursive. It's not the neatest cursive, but it just works for me. And when I try to print stuff, that's when I tend to have to print larger and larger print. I don't know why, it's just like a thing. Here's one of those squares that I was talking about just to add some color and a little bit of beautiful. So I have my to-do list here and here, and I have a section down here for my weekly review, so any quick tips or thoughts. Up here I've gone ahead and made my chores or my weekly checkoff list. And you've seen this style before. I've had it in my bullet journal, so I thought I would try it out in a traveler's notebook insert, and I think it's working kind of nice. However, I went a little dark with this. I was using the, what is this called? The Zebra Sarasa clip in a 0.5, and it just came out very dark, and it ghosts very badly onto the page. You can obviously see it there. I didn't like that, and that's why I switched to the Energel Clinia, because it's just a little bit lighter, a little bit more forgiving when it comes to ghosting. But I'll just have to grin and bear it through this week. Again, the stamps that I used here are those same Midori stamps you've seen in other videos. I used my bigger stencil, which I have here. There's nothing wrong with using a smaller stencil, but I kind of like to use this bigger stencil by Kokyo. So this is for the Jibun Techo, and I used that here, and then I went over it with a darker Tombow marker. Have my schedule here and my to-do. Again, these are stamps by the Midori. I love them. And then week 18 is what we're on. And that's all I've done so far. I haven't sat down and done any dailies for today. I am going to be home, so I probably will have to show you what my dailies look. And they're just pretty much simple, because you know how I feel about dailies. They're supposed to be throwaway. And of course, this is the Travelers Company .grid. The sun moved again, so hopefully this wasn't too dark for you. Maybe people like it a little bit darker. It's not as harsh on the eyes. And that is everything as far as inserts are concerned. And then of course I just have some of these dot stickers that I'm going to try to use in my collections because I have so many of them. I should try to incorporate them somehow. Another stencil that I like to use when I'm dealing with time or time ladders. This is another one by Kokio, and it's for the Jibun Techo, but you can use it in anything. Another stencil by Hobonichi. These are just fun stencils that sometimes I like to use in my monthly to draw out when I'm going to go shopping or reading a book. I like to use this big circle in the corner for when I'm using my key. You can also use a square key too to make it a little bit different if you wanted. More dots and a little bit of ephemera that you can stick to the back or any insert whenever you get bored of what you already have on there. And that is everything in here, you guys. All right, so that is my setup for May of 2023 and how I get all of the stuff in here and how it's all organized. So if you have any more questions, you can definitely leave them down below. All right, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope that this was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.